Hi guys, it's me Haley Marie and welcome back to my channel. So guys, today's video is a video that was extremely requested. It is how I do my eyebrows. So I'm going to be showing you everything from how I groom my eyebrows to how I fill them in. So if you guys would like to learn all my brow secrets and how I get my eyebrows on fleek, then keep on watching. So guys, this is what my eyebrow looks like completely unplucked. This is the longest I've gone without plucking it, so they're like really dramatically bushy, but I wanted to give a good representation of what my eyebrows look like when they aren't groomed. So what I like to start off doing first is trimming my brows to get the proper length. So you'll see like there's a lot of hairs here that are longer than others, and I'm just going to use some scissors. I'm using school scissors, but I typically would use those small like silver scissors. I'll link what I'm talking about down below. And then I'm using the L'Oreal Paris Brow Stylist Definer. The only reason I'm using this is because I really like the bristles on the eyebrow comb. So I'm going to use that to just comb my brows straight up like this, and you can see all the hairs that are just far too long. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut those hairs. Now I'm going to do the same thing downward. Okay, so now that my brows are trimmed, I'm going to comb them back. The next thing I like to do is start plucking my brows, and at this point I do recommend using a reference photo if you have one, if there's a certain shape that you want your brows to be. The other thing I do have to say is if you are trying to change the shape of your brows, don't be afraid to pluck away hairs. You can slowly move your brows less arched or more arched. But at this point, what I like to do is use the opposite side of my tweezers to kind of draw out an invisible line of all the hairs that I want to take away. If you're not as experienced with plucking your own brows, then I recommend taking a brow pomade and using a angled brush to draw out the line that you do want, and then pluck all the hairs underneath that. That way you know the perfect straight line to follow, so your brows look amazing. But I already know which hairs I want to take away. I'm also going to use my other brow as a guideline. This brow is a finished brow. I'm just going to start plucking and you guys will see like the end result. Okay, now I'm going to pluck the top portion of my brow. Now that all the thick hairs are plucked, I'm going to use a eyebrow little razor like this. You can buy them at Target. I prefer the ones from Walgreens. And I am going to shave under here these little like baby hairs that I couldn't get, and above here any little baby hairs as well. So guys, now I'm going to fill in my brow, and to do that I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pomade. I'm using the color dark brown, and I'm also going to use an angled brush and a napkin or tissue. And what I'd like to do is use the tissue to flatten out the hairs to a perfect point in the brush. So just, I rub the brush through the napkin. Anyway, so that's my little trick to getting a super sharp point at the very end. I always start at the end because I like to use the most product towards the end to create kind of an ombre effect. As you can see here, I don't fill in my brows very dark in the front because I want it to look as natural as possible. As you can see, I used as little product as possible in the front. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do to the front of my brows. And that's all I do to fill them in. Now I'm going to do the final step. The last thing I do is take another angled brush, and I like to use a thick concealer or eyeshadow base. It's kind of like MAC Paint Pot or NARS concealer little pot that they have, but this is the NYX version, so it's cheaper. And this stuff has lasted me quite some time though, and so does MAC Paint Pot, so whatever your preference really. But what I like to do is find one in the color of my skin tone. So right now I have a tan, so I'm going to use this one. The reason why I like to use such a thick concealer is because it keeps the brow product from running whenever you apply it, and it also just stays on better and applies easier. You're going to notice if you try to use a liquidy concealer, it's going to create more smudging and it's going to be a lot more messy, so I recommend a thick one. And there you go, perfect on fleek brows. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this brow tutorial and I hope it helped you get your eyebrows on fleek. I love you guys and I will see you next time. Bye!